But I didn't want to stay like that. I wanted to try and get better. So I was forcing it and I got injured. And I was like, here I am, top of the mountain. My career's over. That's it. Torn bicep. It's a really bad injury. Career's over.
This contestant, he has the heart of a lion. And, you know, I doubt if anybody trained harder than this guy.
He won 6 consecutive Mr. Olympias.
The one and only Dorian Yates.
Strength training or bodybuilding is easily the most important thing you can do for your health. You just got to find out what's your motivation, what's your key, and whatever works for you.
Squeeze it up, we've got one more, Mike, come on.
General public was not really aware of steroids. It wasn't even a thing. Now it's like everyone knows about steroids, right? Just being aware of the consequences. A 20-year-old now has 50% the testosterone level of a 20-year-old from 1980.
Going back, would you have changed anything with your approach to training?
One is that.
What is up, guys, and welcome to First Things First. We are outside in sunny Marbella, and as always, whenever I come to Marbella, I have to do the annual meetup with the legend, 6 times Mr. Olympia winner, Dorian Yates.
Cheers, mate. Welcome back to Marbella.
Mate, it's always a pleasure.
People ask me, like, especially from America, because they don't, why do you live in Spain? Well, this is why, yeah. This is why, and it's not exactly Spain, is it? It's very like international kind of bubble here in Marbella. So it's got the best of both worlds. So,
yeah, it's its own unique place. I feel like even during COVID, the rules didn't really apply here.
Yeah, well, the rules don't really apply to me wherever I go generally. So it's just glad there's some other people here on the same vibe, you know.
Yeah. No, it's good. I'm sure many people who've been following my stuff have seen the workout videos which I've done with Dorian. There's actually a lot of people who are requesting me to do it again, but I feel like how would it be any different from what we've done? It's not like
it wouldn't be drastically different because the same principles apply, the same things that we did, unless you said to me, I have an injury, I can't do this, we need to work around it, find some way to work around it, or there's something that's different in where you are in your journey than you was last time. If you want to come in a gym and you want to build muscle, which is what it's about, it's not going to be a lot different. Yeah. The only thing is, I should say, is the way that we were training, the intensity that we're training. You can't do this continuously. There's the thing, yeah. So you probably find you can, in my experience with all, you know, I logged everything, and not only with myself, if I train other people, I observe what's going on. So it's not just me, I'm working with this other people as well.
If there's one...
About 6 weeks is about, you can go bore out, you're trying to get stronger, you're trying to go up, you're trying to get rep more, you're trying to go up. In my experience, after about 6 weeks, generally, you tend to hit a bit of a plateau. And that could be more systemic, like your nervous system gets a bit, you know, start to get a little bit overtrained, and then you need to, what they call a deload now, or you just call it train lighter for a couple of weeks, well below your capacity, but you're still putting some resistance through the muscle, still pushing the blood through there, and so on. So it's not a complete rest, but it's kind of an active rest training. So you need to cycle it. It's not something you can do all the time. Otherwise, you're just going to hit a wall, get burnt out, or get injured, and you'll be forced to back off anyway. So you might as well plan it in the cycle.
Would you still push to failure and lift lighter, or would you back off?
No, the idea is that you active rest. So rather than, let's say, don't do anything for 2 weeks, then you might regress a little bit because you're not putting any stress with the muscles for 2 weeks, and might go back a little bit. So the idea is just to put some resistance through the muscle. Let's say maybe 70% of what you normally would lift. And no, not to failure. The idea is just to put some resistance through the muscle, pump the blood through there, kind of an active rest. So you don't want to be going anywhere near failure. You're just kind of backing off for a few weeks and then getting ready, go push forward again.
It's amazing how during the sessions, I didn't feel like I was doing anything crazy in terms, I wasn't doing like any magic exercises. If anything, I was surprised about how I was doing less than what I was doing normally. The volume was less. But I remember in particular, of course, the leg day, I was pretty fucked up for a few days afterwards, but even the chest and the bicep session, they were so fucking sore for like 5 days.
Well, the thing is, first of all, let's understand what triggers that damage. And then the damage being repaired is equaling growth. You've got to kind of surpass what you did before but not in terms of volume. Otherwise, you would just continuously add sets. You know, let's do 10 sets of squats, the next week 11, and so obviously that's not it. And Mike Mensa, that I learned a lot from, learned here, there, and everywhere, but I learned a lot from Arthur Jones and then Mike Mensa. And Mike Mensa had this analogy, which was really like, you know, they're simplistic, but they get the point across, right? So it was like, if you have a stick of dynamite and you have a pencil and you hit the dynamite with the pencil one time, it's not going off, right? Why? The force is not sufficient, right? That's the point. So if you hit the dynamite with the pencil one time, it doesn't go off. If you hit it twice or 10 or 100 times, does it go off? No, because that force is not enough. But if you had a hammer and you hit it once with a hammer, bang, it goes off. So that's kind of like that with exercise. It's about the intensity, not how long you're there. So it's not an endurance sport. Yeah, I could do more. I could train. Yeah, you could do, but it's not what you should do. The idea is to train the muscle intensely, put it under that stress, but for a short period of time, not a long period of time, because you need the signal, number one, and you need the recovery, number two, and then number three is the overcompensation, and that's the order that it happens in. So we need to train intensely enough, and we need to recover from it. That's the thing. So yeah, we didn't do any magic exercises, because there isn't any magic exercises. There are only exercises that are good, that take that muscle through its range of motion efficiently, and you can go to failure. So there's no magic exercises. There's the magic in how you perform them, maybe. That's all.
Yeah. Can it be done without a training partner?
Yes, it can be done, like, to a degree. I mean, when I started training, I'm just a new kid at the gym, so nobody wants to train with me anyway. So I'm training on my own. So sometimes if someone was in the gym and I'm doing something like a squat or a bench where I could maybe get stuck, I'd just ask, can you give me a spot? If not, I work on a machine, because the machine's safe. You just boom, you put it back. So, and you know, you can train to failure on your own. The only consideration is that safety, you know, so you don't want to get stuck under the bar. And so maybe if there's nobody in the gym, you train on a machine and you can just dump it when you failed. So, or you do dumbbells for bench press or whatever. You can just stitch them. You don't get stuck under the bar. So, you train to failure. So yes, you can do it on your own, but it's kind of better and easier if you've got somebody there. And also I like that if I could have somebody that's got some good energy and they're coming here to train, they're in the same mode as me. That whole back and forth thing works great. And you know, when it's your set and after your set and you're resting, you're kind of focusing on helping your trainer partner do his. So there is no real downtime for you to like start thinking about something else. You know, maybe people do their set at the gym and then, listen, please, the worst thing you can do, I see you doing it, looking on your phone. Yeah. Don't do that. No. Look, guys, we're just connected to that fucking phone 24 hours a day. You got 1 hour a day, or arguably, if you're lifting weights, should be less than that, 3 or 4 hours a week, go in the gym. Take that time to really like focus on what you're doing and leave everything behind. And that means leaving your umbilical cord to the rest of the world, which is your phone. Yeah, leave it in the locker, leave it in your bag. Surely for 1 hour, there's nothing on there that you really need to look at. Yeah, so ditch that, ditch everything, and focus on what you're doing for an hour. And it's not just for your body, it's for your mind as well. It's beneficial. It's kind of like a meditation that you're forgetting about everything else. You're not thinking about your relationship, your business, your bills and all that. If you're in a workout, you shouldn't be, because you're just engrossed in the workout and the movement of the muscle, and it's stretching, it's contracting. And to get to some type of failure, that's just, you know, negotiable. Where are you going to fail at? You know, it depends on your motivation. You could easily do 1 or 2 more reps, usually, if you're really motivated and you're really in the zone. If you're thinking about something else, you're not going to do it. So it's a lot of concentration. It's a lot of mind and little things. When people come to train with me, like we've got 4 guys this week doing a week with me, doing a certification, learning. And they're all, you know, Dorian Yates fans, I guess. And they've read the books, they've watched the the DVD and the YouTube stuff. So they learned a lot. They know a lot, but it's actually doing it is different. Yeah, it's always a bit different.
Do you have a lot of fans that come up to you that train with you that look like they've never even lifted in their life?
Honestly, no, because most of the people that come to train with me, they know, they know who I am. They know what to expect. It's not for beginners, really. Although whatever I do, I mean, in a slight variations on the theme applies to everybody. I've trained guys that really haven't done anything for 20, 25 years. I mean, they're in bad shape physically, and we do a blood test, you know, all the parameters, blood pressure, everything to start with. And just like 3 sessions a week, 45 minutes to an hour total, and a good diet and everything, obviously, and some supplements. After a month, 6 weeks, you see people's health results, health markers really changing, yeah. And of course, the bodybuilding, Mr. Olympia and all that it's my background. But I'm actually more interested, and maybe it's, it's my age as well, it's more relevant to me. I'm more interested in health and quality of life, and like taking what I've learned from, it's an extreme, right? Like, competitive bodybuilding is just really the tip of an iceberg, isn't it? Like, but whatever we do there, it kind of applies and can benefit many people. As far as exercise, we're all told to exercise, but what do we do? I would say that strength training or bodybuilding, whatever you want to term it, as resistance training is easily the most important thing you can do for your health. We're all brought up now in running and cardio and stuff. Yeah, it's cardio condition is important, but muscle mass as you age is like a key marker of longevity. And I heard it somewhere, I don't know where actually. So sarcopenia is the condition where you lose muscle mass as you get older, generally around 1% for each year after 40 years of age. Yeah, and this has devastating effects on your health, on your bone density, on your ability to process sugar and insulin and everything. If you can get your muscle mass back when you're over 40 or 50 or 60, whatever, you get your muscle mass back to 20-year-old level. I'm not talking about 20-year-old juiced up bodybuilder level. I'm talking about a normal, fit, athletic 20-year-old. If you can keep that muscle mass when you're 50 and 60, your health outcomes and your prospective quality of life if you're getting older is just, it's going to make a massive difference, more than anything else that you can do.
What's your routine like at the moment?
So I got the weight training quite limited because of my injuries. Like, I tore a bicep and a tricep tendon and damaged my shoulder during my career, which means there's quite a big strength imbalance between left and right.
For those people who don't know, you tore your tricep once. Was it 3 weeks before you competed?
Yeah. Insane.
You still won.
Insane, yeah.
And then the other one was a bicep one, but you were able to still train.
Yeah, the bicep I did 6 weeks out from the 94 Mr. Olympia, and I kind of trained around it. Didn't affect my training too much, but obviously not ideal. And then 97, I tore a tendon almost like 100% tricep tendon. I think it was hanging on by 5%. And I couldn't train, I couldn't do anything. But I'd been through it before in 94, and I overcome this thought in my mind that in 94, I tore my bicep 6 weeks out. And don't forget, at this point, I'd won the Mr. Olympia twice. And the second time was like, this guy's going to be unbeatable for a decade. Like, he's just set a new standard. And if he stays like that, he won't get beaten. It's just got to stay like that.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to stay like that. I wanted to try and get better. So I was forcing it, and I got injured. And I was like, here I am, top of the mountain. My career's over. That's it. Torn bicep. It's really bad injury. Career's over. That was the dialogue.
And then with the tricep one you literally just did cardio for 3 weeks before the competition. You didn't tell anyone.
Well, the point is, like 6 weeks out, I had this thing with the bicep, and I had a conversation with myself. And I said, well, if you give up now and you blow your diet and I'm done, well, that's going to be the fact. Is a fact. You know, that will be so. But how about if you say, look, maybe I can't make it to the contest, but let's give it a go. Let's give it whatever I can do, 100%. If I can't do this, I'll do something else. I stay on my diet. I'm in good shape. Maybe I can pull it off. And day by day, that's what I did. I pulled it off that time. So when it happened the second time, it was worse. It's 3 weeks out now. And this was totally debilitating. I couldn't train at all. Couldn't lift weights for 3 weeks. So obviously much less than ideal, but I don't know, maybe life threw these challenges at me because I was already at the top and I needed something else as a challenge.
And it's good that I guess we didn't witness you getting beaten by someone.
Yeah, also that, I had a surgery on the tricep tendon, and as I wasn't happy with the prep and my condition on stage, I still believed that I was legitimately the winner, but it was not my personal best. And I thought, well, if I can do another year, maybe I will, to try to redeem that. But after I had the surgery, it was very obvious that the damage was too much and it was permanent. And also with the strength of the train, I just couldn't train the way I wanted to. So I do like light machines and dumbbells now for any upper body stuff. And legs, I was training legs quite heavy till a few years ago. I have some issues with my hip, so I just do leg extensions and leg curls at the moment. So I do twice a week in the gym.
Yeah.
I do twice a week on the road with my bike, so that's more like long cardio. I do once a week, which is stretching, mobility based. So I do Pilates class at the moment. I've done a lot of yoga in the past, but I find yoga's irritate my hip as well, so I kind of ease that out. So I do some cardio, generally outside. Twice a week I go to the gym. I might do like an 8-minute hit interval, like 20-second bursts on the air bike or something like that. And just like 2 exercises for chest, 2 for back. I'm just doing it to maintain my strength and muscle mass that I have, keep that as much as I can. Not really, I'm not trying to put it back on again. I think.
What were the exercises that caused the 2 injuries? I was curious to know.
I did reverse grip barbell rows. And what I was trying to do, I still had this mentality that I wanted to train all the time, and I didn't want to really back off the weights coming into a contest, because in my mind it's very simplistic, but I think I don't want to start training lighter, I'm going to get smaller. It's not correct. So it's not correct thinking, but that was kind of my mentality, and it was just gung-ho 100% all the time. I mean, I was like 30 years old. I really felt like I could just walk through walls and stuff, nothing could hurt me. So I was training, doing reverse grip bent over rows 6 weeks out before the contest. And one thing, I was just training too heavy. I was doing like 6 reps. I was 200 kilos I was rowing with, so unnecessary. So I put myself at risk unnecessarily. And what I realize now is I go back and I'm thinking, where did it started in my shoulder, a little bit of pain in the shoulder. And when I was going to supinate and get the bar, I started noticing the left one was kind of hard to get. I had to squeeze it round. It was already tight when I was pulling the weights. So just, looking back, but at the time I didn't notice it. So it probably started with a shoulder injury, which changed the position a little bit. So then I had more tension going through this arm, and it was just too heavy. And for a contest, your calories are restricted. You're doing cardio. You're not sleeping as well, because anyone that's done a real contest diet knows you just can't sleep, because your body just keeps waking up telling you to eat, and you're like, no, I can't. So you sleep less, your body fat's less, you're dehydrated, you're tired, you're more vulnerable to an injury. So I advise people that are helped now, let's just ease it back, because all you're doing really the last 6 to 8 weeks is just let's maintain what you've got, and while we're getting rid of the body fat and everything like that. So not to say that you should train lighter or anything, still train to failure, but maybe bring the reps up to 10 to 12 and so on,
Would you, going back, would you have changed anything with your approach to training at all?
I get asked this question all the time, and it's like a couple of ways to look at it, because I don't believe in I would change this, because then I would change everything, right? So I would rather phrase it as, what did I learn that I would have helped me if I wasn't doing it, and I can tell other people about it. One is that, but there's a general theme behind that, pushing unnecessarily too much before a contest. There's this passion and there's this drive behind it, which got me from where I was in a, you know, kid in a small gym in Birmingham that people in Birmingham didn't even know what bodybuilding was really. From there to be the best in the world with this drive all the time, this passion, and it's not like a dial that you can just turn it up and down. It's on or it's off, right?
Yeah.
So it's my advice to myself would be, yes, you know, be more sensible and ease off and go into the, and that's what I pass on to people now. But you know, maybe I was meant to have that injury, you know, and to stop bodybuilding when I stopped and learn what I learned, and to be where I am today, which is in a very good place and very happy. So I wouldn't change it. But if it was somebody else doing it, I would say, hey, don't do that and don't do that. Maybe, but I don't live life with regrets and looking back, I should have changed this and should have changed that, because it all made me the man who I am today, that I feel good as, you know.
We've seen Dr. Mike Israel made a video about you reviewing it.
Yeah,
he was very complimentary, actually.
Actually, it was funny because I was just over in Romania. I got the offices there in Bucharest for D1 Nutrition, so I'm there. I go now and then, and all the people in the office, we got a big screen there, so we all put it up and watched it. Yeah, no, it was fair enough. There's another guy on there as well that analyzes analyze the movements, and with his little marker pen and all that, hypertrophy coach or something.
Oh yeah. It's John Bennett.
Yeah, they both analyze my training, and they both like know what they're talking about from that point of view. So they understood what I was doing and why I was doing it and the choices that I made.
He seems to think that you could have squeezed in a 5th session.
Yeah, well, I said 4 days a week to make it simple for people, but if actually it was 4 days out of 6, so he realized that when he looked into it, he's like, But 4 or 5, it all depends on the individual and if they can recover or not. But they understood the exercises I was doing and why I was doing them and everything. So thanks for the legend out of 10, mate. Don't worry. If you come to England and you tell them you know me, nobody's going to stab you, yeah?
What for the rest of the week when you weren't training, what were you doing back then?
Resting, man.
Just resting.
Resting. Depended.
You weren't coaching any people back then?
No, man. Never. I mean, that didn't even exist anyway.
Yeah.
There was no coaches, and who am I going to coach? Nobody's interested. It just didn't exist. It just didn't even exist, mate. You know, like maybe Mike Mensa, he was one of, you know, he had phone consultations. There's no online, right? So it's books or letters or phones before we had email. So Mike used to do a lot in person at Gold's Gym and on the phone. So I guess he was probably one of the first people that was kind of a coach or doing coaching. Well, you know, you obviously had coaches in the gym, people in the gym, personal trainers, but you didn't have a coach for bodybuilding. You had a coach for training.
Yeah.
Like I trained with Mike Mensa, as I learned a lot from him, and he was kind of like my hero when I started. So I got to train with him, and we did some training and discussed training, and it was great. But I didn't discuss with him nutrition, because I knew I already knew more than him. I didn't discuss with him steroids or any of that, because I already knew I knew more than him. So
and this was all
not even a conversation we had.
It was personal experience.
Yeah, it was me in the gym with him and exchanging, and he was saying what you're doing now, and, you know, like explain my training. It was like, maybe try cut, because I was doing like warm up, whatever, a couple of sets, and then I do a set to failure, and then I do another set to failure, a bit lighter, just hit that nail twice to make sure it's in there, right?
Yeah. So
that was my thing. And he's like, how about you just cut back to the 1 set from 2 to 1? I said, well, let me give it a try. And I gave it a try, and I feel like I got another burst of progress as I was kind of, you know, maybe maxing out. So that would fly in the face of everything that anyone ever thought, right? Do less and get more.
I genuinely think if you were in this scenario, if you coached me 4 times a week, I would, for however many months, I would stack on quite a significant amount of muscle.
Anyone would, as long as they're, you know, taking care of everything outside the gym.
Yeah.
That's their job. But with the train, I've had a lot of people that's come for a month, and they'll literally get a little bit bigger and a little bit stronger. They're looking and like, I look bigger than last week. I'm like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You should be, right? Especially if you've been doing some training which is quite inefficient, let's say, because I mean, when you first go to the gym, any training you do is a shock to your body, right?
Yeah.
And you get some results from it, but after a while it maxes out, and then you've got to be smart. You've got to train hard enough, and you've got to balance that with your recovery. So I often see people training too much or too often. I don't know that I've ever really seen anyone train too hard.
Yeah, well, I always recommend people at least once or a couple of times go and train with somebody who's like genuinely going to push you, because how do you even define intensity? It's very relative. Like somebody might think, oh well, yeah, I train pretty hard, and 'cause I used to be a coach for years, I would watch them train. I'm like, no, like that's not training hard. Now we're going to train hard.
Yeah, they got
and then they'll be like,
you got to take them there. You got to help them get there. Yeah, that's what I do with people. And I say, look what you did, man. You did this.
Wow.
Oh, okay, you did it. You got those couple more reps because I'm fucking shouting at you and I'm Dorian Yates and you're going to do it, right? But actually, you did it. I mean, you lifted the weights. I'm here. I'm just shouting and being me, right?
Mm.
So I was your motivation then to get those 2 reps, correct, right? But you can do it because you did do it. So you're physically capable of it. It was just that you were a bit more motivated today, but I've showed you that you can do it. So now you know.
Mm.
And you just got to find out what's your motivation, what's your key, and that's like the key inside your psyche, inside your brain, whatever works for you. What used to work for me, I call it fuck you motivation.
Mm.
Fuck you to everybody, to the teachers at school that say you're not going to get anywhere and prepare you for a life of being medicure, you know. Fuck you to everyone that said I couldn't get anywhere. Even imagination that people are saying bad things about, fuck you. Like I always use that. I rather use that the anger that I had or the negative things or whatever. I'd rather use that as motivation and kind of get rid of it in a way. It's like you've changed it into something good. So you've took it out of yourself where it could be damaging, and with your workouts, you've like kind of transformed that negative energy into something that's positive.
Yeah, I think if anybody's dealing with any kind of bullshit in their life, whether it's like family, career, whatever it might be, the best thing you to do is just go to the gym.
Yeah.
And let it out.
Yeah, fuck everybody in the gym, you know? They won't know.
Yeah.
They don't take it personal. You're just in your head, right? Whatever it is. I used to think like people are trying to stop me from getting there. And then when I got there, I was like, how do I deal with this now? Because I'm at the top, right? So I turned it around like, I've got a son and I've got a wife, and the other guys are trying to want the food off my table for my family. So now I had another reason to be like combative and angry, and you know, it's just my imagination. I was comfortable. I had a nice big house and income, and I could chill now, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's the danger. So I had to find another thing, and that was it. It was like they're trying to stop me. These other guys.
It was pretty amazing that despite winning and having all this potential temptation at your doorstep, you were just like, right, I'm back to the UK.
Yeah.
Back to training the next week.
Well, back to training, but it wasn't quite as simple as that, because I was like, why am I training now? So it wasn't quite as, transition wasn't quite that smooth. It was
this is after you finish.
Yeah, like, you know, I'm finished, but I didn't exactly plan my exit.
Yeah.
As I was really a planner and a controller, and I liked to control everything that I could. And through my career, I did very well at that. But an injury is an injury, and your career's over. Bang. Well, hold on. I'm not ready for this. Didn't think about this. What shall I do now? And where should I go? And what should I do? And yeah, I'm going to gym, but why am I going to gym now? Like, it's just the whole, your whole identity is lost. And many men get depressed. Like guys, you know, they're 60, they've been doing this job all their life or whatever, and they retire, and then they get depressed because they have no purpose anymore. Even if it's driving a van or working a post office or whatever it is, that was your purpose in a way, and now it's taken away. And like, who are you and what should you do as a man? Like, so there's a lot of questions there, a lot of changes in my life.
What year was this?
I'd say 97, 98 I announced my retirement, so we're talking 99 into early 2000s. Went through like real clinical depression, not knowing like I've been doing this thing for so long, and it's all I've been doing. I don't know anything. I don't know who I am outside of this anymore. I'm lost. Like, I remember who I was when I was 20 years old before I started, but I'm not now. I'm 35, and all I've done is bodybuilding. Really, it's all cut the rest of the world off, like tunnel vision. Didn't go out, I didn't want to go to social events or anything. I just wanted to be, I loved it. I wanted to do it, but
I think people need to understand as well how different the world was back then.
yeah, well, here's the thing now. It's like, so you got myself, Chris Cormier came over recently, did a podcast with me. He's doing well. He's doing coaching all around the world. And so the younger generation that came in through the internet, they got to learn about us old school guys that they call us. And I get hundreds of guys coming to see me at an expo, and I look and they're like, wow, most of these guys not even born when I was competing. So the internet opened up a lot of opportunities and maybe relaunched a lot of guys whose careers was like, what should I do now? Because there was just the magazines, right? Once you're not in the magazines anymore, it's like you virtually disappeared.
Yeah.
And I disappeared to Birmingham as well. So I kind of lost all my...
Not much going on in Birmingham.
No, and I'm not
bodybuilding.
I'm not one. I don't really like I'm not a guy that wants to sit on the phone all the time. And when I was depressed, it was even like I don't even want to talk to anybody. I don't feel like myself. I feel bad. I don't want people to see that I'm not good, and so I even cut myself off more. So I was like cut off from the bodybuilding and not really knowing what to do. And then slowly I turned it around to be like, well, when I was bodybuilding, I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that, I couldn't travel and go to places I want. I couldn't, everything had to be scheduled. Now, hey, there's a lot of things in the world you can do. So, but it took a lot of time to get to that conclusion.
What did you start doing after that? Like when you realized, oh, maybe I can start traveling and go around.
Got divorced, went partying, chased women. The usual stuff.
Like every
usual
guy.
stuff until you get tired of it, like all the things that I like couldn't do before. Like, hey man, if I want to stay up for 2 days, if I want to go the other side of the world and do something, I can do it. I can I can do what I want. So yeah, I suppose you could say I went off the rails a little bit, but
How
I had to.
How long did that last for?
10 years. On and off. I pretty much slowed down when I met Gal, I guess, so it was probably like 7 or 8 years where I was loose. I mean, I was still training, I still stay in shape and everything, but if it was a weekend or I was away, then yeah, there's a party going on.
Well, I think you definitely earned it.
Yeah, I definitely earned it, and maybe I had to do that as well because I was so regimented. I had to swing the other way where I wasn't, and I felt free and doing crazy stuff. I mean, that I couldn't have done anyway because I'm somewhat of a whatever, celebrity or well known. It opened a lot of doors that wouldn't have been open when I was younger anyway. So yeah, and then got to the point where hey, I met a good woman. I mean, it didn't stop straight away. Fortunately, Gal was very tolerant, and she's like, maybe you want to stop that at some point, but I'm not going to be the one, because if anyone told me not to do something, it's just the best way to get me to go and do it more. It's not going to work, right? So I guess she figured that out. So then, yeah, it's not really fun anymore. It's not really fun anymore, and it's, start to get hard on your body and everything. So I've been all through that. I've been through a lot of stuff. I've been through depression. I've been through drug use and everything. But I think it gives me more connection and more empathy with people because if they're talking about it, I'm like, hey, I know, and that way you can help people. I mean, I had a guy come over for a month. His father sent him over here because he had a drug problem, and we spent time together. We trained, and just like that helped him and keeping away from. Well, he told me he had a drug counselor over in Canada, or it was where he came from. I'm like, how much drugs has your counselor done? Did you ask her? He's like, no, she hadn't. I was like,
yeah, that's a valid point.
How's she going to help, man? Yeah. So everything in my life had a point, and I've had a lot of experiences in life,
That's what it's all about.
That's what it's about in the end, yeah? Not just, I haven't been just one thing. It's almost, I've had like if I had a book, there's all different chapters in there. There's a bodybuilding chapter, but there's other chapters as well in there. And I don't get caught on that idea of who I am. I'm Dorian Yates, I'm Mr. Olympia, I'm a bodybuilder. No, I'm not. I'm whatever I want to be, you know? But we all have a tendency to get stuck in that mold of, especially if we're really good at something.
Yeah.
You tend to stick there because it's comfortable, right? I went to do yoga with a load of ladies. Like, I couldn't stand on one foot. I was falling over. I was stupid, yeah? But it didn't matter. I was there to do what I was doing and didn't need to be the best in these things. And I had a yoga coach, and she used to ask me what I want to do. I said, I want to do what you tell me to do, because in the gym I'm the boss and I tell everyone else what to do and I tell myself what to do. But this is yoga, and I'm just a student. Yeah, I want to learn, so I want to switch off, and you tell me to do this, I'll do this. So I'm not thinking about it. Yeah. So
I remember even when I was in my 20s, I'd kind of built up this reputation that I was a coach, bodybuilder guy.
Yeah.
And after a while, it started to get a bit repetitive, and I was like, how long is this going to continue for? Like, I don't want to be those guys who's only one-dimensional, is just known for doing one thing, and you know what, when he gets into his late 30s, 40s, 50s, you know, the physique is going to start to go downhill. Then what do you do?
Exactly.
So,
if you're, but more importantly is your own self-worth.
Yeah.
What do you think about it? That's the problem with a lot of people. They get, in a way, addicted to that image, that personality, and you know, especially the guys that are using steroids, because they don't want to give it up, right? They don't want to go back to being that guy that was a bit smaller and everything before. So it's kind of that can be a cycle as well, you know, just being that guy. And if you're doing something really on professional competitive level, then it is your life. It has to be like that. But if you're not, it doesn't have to be like that, and it shouldn't be really. But it was. I mean, imagine that's all I did, and then you start to like think, well, this is a bit strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is this what life's really about? Is this more? And then, you know, that was the journey that I went on to like discover about life, and not just the physical life, the spiritual life. Went on a big journey with that, and it's never ending, you know. So it makes life exciting. Every day I can learn something more, and I'm always trying to do that.
When did the spiritual journey start?
I guess you know, I always had some awareness, but it was more like when I finished bodybuilding and some things happened in my personal life. I got divorced, and I lost my nephew who was very young. It's just a lot of trauma, and it's like dropping a bomb on my life. But maybe that's what had to happen, because it had to just all blow apart, and I had to like figure out stuff. Without most people that have been on a spiritual journey, it normally starts with some kind of life crisis, because while we're comfortable, we don't change anything. We just carry on and carry on. Something drops in your life, everything falls apart, and you're like, what the fuck is this all about? And you just start thinking and searching, and that's how it started. Yeah, I reckon.
Does it have to involve taking some sort of hallucinogen drug or something? Because I know you've
It doesn't, but let me tell you this: all the spiritual practices and religions, they all started with psychedelics. They all started with plants, and then it gets changed and watered down and so on. But all the people you read about having visions, the ancient Greek mystery schools, and they to go into the temple, and they call it like you die and you're born again in the temple in these secret ceremonies, and you know, the evidence left behind, like diagrams of drinks and plants and so on. So it's been used. People are aware of, you know, indigenous people in South America using plant medicines, but it's everywhere. Every culture is being used in plant medicine. So no, you don't have to, but it's a massively helpful tool.
This is the whole thing with life experiences, because I've tried a couple of things. I've experienced a lot, but the ayahuasca thing I've never experienced, and it annoys me that I can't relate or have a proper discussion about it, because I've not yet experienced it myself. So
well,
I want to try.
I can't have a proper discussion about it either, and I have experienced it. But my attempts to describe it will never be sufficient.
Yeah,
because I don't have the vocabulary. I don't have I can't show you what was inside my head. So people try to describe it, but it's very difficult to describe because it's multi-level. Is it, oh, it's going to help with your trauma and what? Yeah, but there's levels to this, not just about that. It's levels to it. And the main thing is that you're going to become aware that there is much more here than what you can see right now, what you can perceive. And me sitting in this couch and this thing's here is about 1% of what's in this space. The other 99% you can't perceive at this moment in time, yeah? So we could be sitting here and you can tune a dial on the thing, on the radio, whatever, and pick up beach grooves. I like beach grooves. Good channel out here. It's a plug for beach grooves, house music and Marbella. We can tune into that, yeah? We sit in the same space and tune into like, how many, 100 more channels?
So we've only got 5, we can do 5 senses.
Yeah,
Imagine
but what I'm saying is we could tune a dial now and pick up 100 different radio stations or whatever, just for argument's sake, 100. But they're all here, right?
Yeah.
But while you're listening to beach grooves, you can't be listening to, or aware of the other ones, but they're still in the same space, yeah?
Yeah.
So that's the same thing with a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff in the space, in this time and space that you're not aware of. And when you take psychedelics, you will be aware of a lot more and you'll know. And you won't be able to forget there's much more. And that just changed your whole perception, your whole thinking process and ability to think. It just blows it open. So it's much more than, and it's not like, hey, this is fun. You know, I haven't done any psychedelics for 5 years because I've done a lot and I've really got a lot from it. But it's not like fun. It's not like, let's go to a club and pop an ecstasy and have fun. Yeah, it's a deep spiritual journey. Yeah. And I think if you're really thinking about it and you start to get curious, then that's the time.
Yeah. I think definitely 10 years ago, I would not have been in the right mind space to do it. But
so
now,
let me use this analogy that I've used a couple of times and people appreciated it.
Yeah.
So let's say you're in a box, yeah? There's 4 walls and you're in a box and that's all you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see the 4 walls and that's it. So as far as you're concerned, that's all that exists, right? Because it's all you can touch and smell and see and hear. They're in the box, right? But then I bring you a little trampoline and you jump on the trampoline and you can see over the wall of the box and there's this whole world out there.
Yeah.
Then you come back down. Well, you know it's there now. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Recently, in particular, I know it's there.
Yeah.
But now I want to see it.
So you've answered your own question. Now's the time, then, isn't it? Now's the time to start looking where is the place to do it.
Where is the place to do it?
Well, I'm sure there's lots of places, but where I did it is in a place in Costa Rica and Peru, Soltara. Just because they're very professional. They've got a whole team there that prepare you before, look after you afterwards and everything like that. So that's with the guys that I did it with. I've done some ceremonies in Spain with different people, but I'm kind of like a cowboy. I'll go in and do it, but I see that some people didn't really have a good experience because they weren't properly prepared and they weren't like talked down, coached afterwards, lots of questions, and they're just sent home with all this and they got no one to talk to. So Soltara, you have people there during, before and after and everything like that. So
I had some friends when I used to live in Newcastle. They would just fucking do it in Newcastle. I'm like, couldn't think of anything worse than doing it there.
Well, the thing is, I mean, you're opening yourself up to a lot of energies, right? So that's why when you do ayahuasca, the space that you're doing it in is cleaned out. They burn incense in there, they pray in there. It's a sacred space, yeah? Because everything's energy. So if you want to take some psychedelics, I don't know, you're in a party or a nightclub or something, got all these different people in there of all different energies bouncing around and everything, you're probably not going to have a good experience because, you know, it's not meant to be used like that. It's not recreational, you know. You want to do it in a quiet place with a shaman, with people watching over you, making sure you're safe and everything like that.
You're a big proponent of smoking weed as well, aren't you?
I'm just a big proponent of cannabis and I'm provocative about it. I smoke it and take pictures and I put it on the internet and everything like that, yeah. Because I'm just trying to change people's perceptions as I have a lot of knowledge about cannabis.
I have a question for you guys. Do you take supplements? And if you do you really know what supplements you should be taking? You see, this is a problem I had for years. I would walk into a supplement store, I would buy loads of random bottles of supplements and just pop pills every day, hoping for the best. But in reality, I had no idea whether or not I should be consuming these supplements. That is where Bionic came into the picture and solved that problem. You see, I've been working with Bionic for the past couple of years, and since 2021, I've been getting my blood work done with them every 3 to 4 months. And based on that blood work, they send it off to get analyzed, and then they put together a very specific customized formula for me, which will last me for 3 to 4 months until I get my next blood work done. And honestly, it's been an absolute game changer for me. They also offer another product called Bionic Go, where all you need to do is go onto the website, fill in questionnaire, and then based on that questionnaire, they can give you your customized supplements. So if that sounds like something that would be of interest, which I highly recommend, go onto the website, bionic.com, and you can use the link in my description to get a nice little discount on your first order. What do you think is the common misconceptions that people have about marijuana?
I don't know. You tell me. What do you think? What's the negatives? Tell me.
I personally don't see any negatives with it because I never see anybody fight when they smoke. I don't see anyone like losing their mind or doing weird shit. Like everyone's just chilled in a good place. I feel like the government authorities try and push this agenda that's dangerous, bad for your health.
Yeah. I mean, in America, it's still certain states it's legal, yeah, but federally, America, you have the federal government, and then you have the state. Federally, it's still Schedule 1 with heroin and cocaine, which means it has no medical applications. Yeah, well, go online there and Google patent on cannabis and cannabinoids, and you see the US government has patented it as a powerful antioxidant and a neuroprotectant. And that's what it is. Unfortunately, he passed away, but there was molecular biologist, his name was Dr. Robert Malamud, and he said he's a molecular biologist, but his field of speciality, so narrow field of speciality, was oxidative stress and aging of the cells. And he said the number one thing on the planet to protect your cells, antioxidant power. Oh, you heard about vitamin C and everything? Forget about it. It's THC. Cannabis, massively protective on your cells. Yeah? So it's got massive health benefits, regardless of like recreational use and everything. It's a medicine. It's a very powerful medicine. It's been used for thousands of years, and it's been demonized for various reasons. First of all, there would be a high percentage of pharmaceuticals that would just not be needed if people would use cannabis instead, and it's non-toxic. Like, tell me something else that's you couldn't consume enough of it to kill yourself. Impossible. Tell me, water? No, you're going to drown. Cannabis never killed anyone in the history of mankind. It's not possible. It's not toxic. It doesn't suppress your breathing or anything. So it's not many things you can say that about, right? So it's non-toxic. It has many, many health benefits, and you can Google that cannabis patent, US patent. So Robert Malamud was saying it's like the most protective thing you can take for your cells, the most protective single. So it's, for me, it's multi-level. First of all, it's a mind opener, right? People that smoke cannabis have an ability to think outside of boxes and programs don't really work on us. So they say it makes you rebellious. Bob Marley said, makes you rebellious against what?
Yeah.
Nothing good. It's only rebellious against control and systems. And of course, if you're a government, you want to be able to control your people. So that's not good, having them thinking for themselves. So it's recreational. For me, it's like, I like to think and I like to explore. So it's great for that. And I'm not on a crusade to make everyone smoke weed, because my wife don't smoke weed. Doesn't like it. Doesn't feel good for her, right? But I just put it out there, especially as I'm an athlete, and then people are like a bit perplexed, like, what? You're being a bad example to my son smoking cannabis? Oh, okay, sorry. It was okay when I was doing growth hormone and steroids, yeah? That was okay, but I'm doing cannabis now, which has never harmed anybody. I mean, arguably there are some mental health concerns with young people, But, you know, I wouldn't advise young people to be drinking alcohol at 12 and 13 years old either.
Yeah.
But I was. I was in a pub at 13 years old. It's, you know, I don't know, you're younger than me, but British culture is like,
No,
especially back then, it's pubs. Like, everyone's drinking.
Binge drinking at like, got into it when I was 15.
Yeah.
Like, there was no way out of it. Every single one of my friends was drinking. If you weren't drinking, then you're a little bitch.
Exactly. And look at the damage that alcohol does, not only to your body and your brain, but to society. Most murders are done under alcohol. Most car accidents are done with alcohol. Like violence, alcohol. But if I posted on my Instagram page drinking a glass of wine, I want zero people commenting anything. But how can you smoke cannabis and be a sports person? I don't know. Ask 80% of the NBA players that smoke cannabis according to recent surveys. NBA, NHL, hockey, football in America. They've done surveys on all those sports. It's around 80% of the professional players that use cannabis on a regular basis. So if it was bad for your health or bad for your performance, which is not, neither, it's beneficial for both. Do you think the best, most highest paid athletes in the world would be using it every day? And more to the point, do you think the owners of the clubs would be allowing them to do anything that's going to decrease their performance?
Yeah.
No. So
it's true.
Most athletes use cannabis. Yeah. Who's the fastest man in the water? Michael Phelps, cannabis user. Who's the fastest man on land?
Usain Bolt.
Yeah, man, Jamaica. You know.
You know, he was smoking a lot with it. It's true though. Like if I could spend an evening smoking marijuana versus spending the evening drinking. If I spend the evening drinking, I'm going to feel like absolute trash the next day.
Because it's poison and your body's got to process the poison. Where your body already has a cannabinoid system in there, cannabinoid system in your own body. They found, I don't know, like 10 years ago or something. Basically, we have a cannabis system in our bodies. It fits with our bodies. That's why it works for so many different ailments.
So the only problem I've had with it is it makes me extremely antisocial. So whenever I do smoke, I like to just go off by myself. So if I'm going somewhere and I'm expected to be social, that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, it might feel a bit uncomfortable, like with a lot of people and everything. And there's lots of different strains as well. You see, there's lots of different strains of cannabis with different types of effect. Broadly speaking, it's very broadly, but you have sativa and indicas. So sativa is more, it's like a high. You're thinking, it's more creative, like artistic, and musicians would use it, and you're quite up, yeah. Then you got the indica, which is more sedative, which is more for like your pain and appetite and sleep and stuff like that. But it's couch lock. You have it. You just I'm not going anywhere now. Yeah. So it depends on the strain and the person and so on. So it's it's a whole world, like getting into wine or something. And there's different different types and different strains.
I think as well because when I'm in Dubai, I'm super clean. Obviously, they don't tolerate.
Not much choice, have you?
You have no choice in Dubai. You got to respect the rules. So whenever I do a bit of traveling over the summer, I think it's just because my tolerance is so low that it just knocks me back a bit.
Yeah, it's a matter of dosage, isn't it? Yeah. Like if you regularly consume cannabis and THC, you build up a tolerance. Like me, I can smoke a whole joint and go do something where somebody else will not. Yourself probably would not. Yeah. So, you just have a little bit. I got this saying with my guys because we go out biking and stuff. I said it's called 2 puffs and go. You just have 2, and that's it. And then we go off and we go bike ride. And I'm like, I feel great. Yeah. I said, but if you had 2 more, you probably wouldn't feel great. So it's just a matter of what suits you.
Have you got into the marijuana business at all?
I'm kind of involved in a club here down in you've got to come down at Alvera called Cannabis. Come down and visit, mate. Well, we'll go down next week or something. It's a nice villa. We've got a kitchen in there. We've got a pool. We're going to put a sauna in there and an ice thing. So it's like a community. Everyone there is like more into sports, and it's an older crowd, like business people, entrepreneurs. I'm looking at all the people here, and it's funny, isn't it? Like the stereotype of a cannabis user. Like nobody there fits that stereotype, So. All kind of people from all walks of life use cannabis and they're successful. Like if you're a lazy bastard and you smoke weed, you'll be a lazy bastard. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not. So slows me down sometimes, but I probably might need to slow down sometimes.
Yeah. What are the laws here?
The law here in Spain is you're allowed to consume cannabis in your own private house, and you're allowed to have plants for yourself, like in your own house. So, you know, I don't know, arguably 3 or 4 plants you could have, and you can smoke here, and you can smoke on a balcony, and you can do what you want, right? Outside, no. But if you're in, it's like a collective, like a members club. You're in a private members place, you can consume cannabis there. So that's what we got with Cannabis, and that's where we're at the moment. But for me, it's just a slow tiptoe to being legal, sooner or later, you know.
Yeah.
Same as in America at first. In California, when I used to go there, you had to have a license. Like, you go to the doctor and you don't literally have a card with their picture on and everything. I used to love it, like 007 Cannabis with a picture like a driving license. But then, you know, it was like anyone could get a license. It's just bullshit, and now it's totally legal. So I think it's like that. It's politicians, nobody got any balls. They want to make changes, so it's very slow. But
it might as well be in the UK.
It makes sense. I mean, in the UK as well, the police have just said, look, we're not going to prosecute anyone for smoking cannabis. So it's not legal, but effectively it's halfway there. So hopefully in a few years it'll just be legal, and you'll be able to buy it if you're over 21 at certain locations, or, you know, just like alcohol.
You should definitely do your own strains.
Yeah, I'm thinking of it because, I mean, a sativa is ideal before training because it's kind of up and it's super narrow focus, and then you've got other ones that's more for recovery. So I'm working on it. Yeah,
You could have the munchies one for people who
the
struggle to
munchies,
eat and need to
Don't
bulk.
worry, we got that. We got you there. Just be careful what you're munching, though. That's all. Yeah, eat your steak and everything, not your, you know,
It's
your
funny.
cake.
It makes food taste unbelievable,
Well, what it does, it enhances a lot of senses. So
and sex as well.
feeling your nerves. So yeah, sex is better. Plus you're being more in tune with the energy. If you're having sex, you can feel like just where to go, right? Music. You listen to music when you smoke. Listen to music before you smoke, and listen to the same music after you smoked, and you will hear little background things in the little. Oh, I've never heard that before. Like the details. The same with the food. Your sense of taste is increased. So a lot of your senses are enhanced. That's why it's very good for creative people. But some are not enhanced, like your short-term memory.
Yeah.
So you might feel like a genius, but you can't remember where your car keys are.
It's just literally write everything.
Yeah, but it's
down.
short-term. It's short-term memory. It's not like people, oh, weed damages your brain or anything. Look it up. Patent, neuroprotectant. Okay, neuroprotectant. So stop with that nonsense.
Have you tried mushrooms?
Yeah, I've never done like mega deep mushroom trips. I've done like a gram, which is, you know, functional amount. It's interesting. The really deep work I've done has been with the ayahuasca and DMT, like just pure straight DMT, which is just a 10-minute job, but it's like you're out of here.
Yeah.
I mean, you're gone, man.
Yeah.
And 10 minutes is what? Wherever you are, there is no fucking time. So you could have been there for hours. You don't know.
Yeah.
You only know when you come back and your mate tells you, oh, you're good, you're back. 10 minutes. Fuck. Ayahuasca contains DMT, but it's mixed with another plant, which allows the DMT to stay in your system and be active for hours. Where DMT, you burn through it if it's just a straight smoking DMT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else do you spend a lot of your time doing at the moment now? What business ventures you got going on?
Well, the main one is D1 Nutrition. We've just gone through a massive change because we've got our own factory now, but it's not a nutraceutical factory, which is most people use. We've gone in partnership with a pharmaceutical factory. So everything is a higher level of scrutiny as far as the products go. And I've got the bodybuilding range, the D with the shadow line, which is the bodybuilding stuff, which is good as I can get it. But I'm excited now because we're bringing out a whole new range of products, like in the areas that I'm actively been studying and so on, like how, if you want to call it wellness or anti-aging, I'll just call it aging better. Like, how can you be more functional as you age, and how can you slow down possibly the aging process? That's what I'm studying now. So I've got products that are coming out more on that end. And as we're manufacturing ourselves, we can monitor everything as far as the quality and hopefully give people a better product for a better price without all the bullshit and the hype.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you pay for a product and what's in there. Unfortunately, a lot of times you don't get what's on the label.
Yeah.
You know?
There's a lot of supplement brands. A load of them at the end of the day just get all this stuff made in the same factory.
Yeah, and who are
is,
they?
Is it Glambia who make?
There's lots of factories out there, but the thing is, this is Dorian Yates. This is DY.
Yeah.
And it's my whole life. It's my whole reputation. I can't. First of all, I would never want to shortchange anybody, but if I did and somebody found out, then I'm finished. I'm Dorian Yates, right? I can't go anywhere. I'm Dorian Yates. But who's behind XYZ? ABC, like,
There's
brand.
no face.
It's just a name, right?
Yeah.
I'll tell you who they are. Money crunchers, number guys with suits on. That just want to make money, and if they can cut a corner, they'll cut a corner.
What are some of the biggest lessons you've learned from starting that supplement brand?
That's one of them. You know, people approaching me and asking me, can you do a protein for X amount? I'm like, cost me that much to make it.
Well, they want it cheaper.
Yeah, it cost me that much to make it. Yeah, I know, but what they're saying is, I just want the bottle. I don't really care what's in there. There's people that are out there that want to do that. They want to sell that. They want to cut costs. And you got things like proteins with heavy metals in there because it hasn't gone through that level of testing. So not only sometimes are you getting shortchanged, but you might be taking what you think is a health product. It's not even really good for your health because it's got contaminants in there and so on.
Yeah.
So so what happens with normally in the nutrition business, if you've got a nutritional level manufacturing, you get the ingredients, you know, amino acids from China and creatine from here and different places, and it'll come in a bag and they'll say that's what's in there. So then you go on and you manufacture it and you send it out. A pharmaceutical, it comes in and it doesn't matter what says on there. There's another level of responsibility. We don't care what he said that sold it to us. We need to check this, double check this as well, as we're now responsible in the chain of care. So we have to check everything, and we're going to have a code on the products. So you can go your product code, see which batch number it was, see the certificate of analysis with all the content in, all the microbiology and the heavy metal analysis, everything. So that's going to be part of the service that we're going to give in the future.
Yeah. I think definitely in particular with the journey you've been on, it's more than just the supplements to get you jacked or enhance the session that you have, but also
no, I'm
help.
beyond that now. You know, I can help other people with that, but it's like, how do I enhance my own health and things that I've learned on that journey to be able to make them available for other people? I said to my business partner, I said, I'm glad we're getting this bloody line out, yeah, because I'm spending about €500 a month on other people's supplements right now. Because, you know, we don't make some of the supplements I'm using, but now we're going to be making everything. So I'm looking forward to that. And there's lots of different areas that we want to get into, like maybe products for kids at school, products for pregnant women. All those things is really, really important, that you're getting sufficient protein and omegas and vitamins and minerals and stuff. Like kids at school studying, and how can you study, man, when you've just had like a sugary drink and a bowl of cornflakes for breakfast?
I remember
or something?
every morning I'd have a massive bowl of cereal and 2 or 3 Scotch pancakes.
Yeah.
And I remember
Carbing up for school.
all morning I was just like struggling to stay
Me
awake.
too. Half a box of cornflakes, a bottle of milk, and half a bag of sugar. That was my breakfast. So yeah, there's lots of areas that could benefit from supplements. Imagine a pregnant woman. I mean, the milk that you're giving your baby is dependent on the nutrients that you're eating. Yeah. Maybe you're not getting enough protein or omega fats and vitamin D and stuff like that. So I haven't got a product yet. I'm just speaking out loud. These are the areas that I like to get into that really can benefit people, aside from the sports nutrition industry, which of course I'll carry on with that. But I'm interested in other areas. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with some of the research that's coming out now on creatine, on the brain, cognitive health and brain health and everything. It's almost like, I mean, everybody should take creatine. Yeah. Everybody, your granny, everybody should take it because it's good for your brain and it's going to slow down the muscle loss. Yeah. So even if you don't exercise, I would argue you can benefit from creatine. That's amazing, man. I mean, that stuff's been around for 30 years and we're still finding new benefits.
I remember I was I was put off from taking it because there was some study that linked it to hair loss, which was just one study, and it's been proven that it actually doesn't have
No
any
chance,
hair loss.
mate. No chance.
Yeah.
Hair loss is genetic and speeded up by DHT,
Yeah.
maybe dihydrotestosterone. So
I feel like more people should be getting their blood work done, because many people are trying to diagnose like what is wrong with them and just randomly guessing like, oh, let's take some random supplements, or let's try this, let's do that, when they don't actually know what.
yeah, there's a lot of blood markers you could take. I mean, the one that everybody should check, that's fairly simple blood marker, is your D3 levels.
Yeah.
I mean, D3 is not, it's not even a vitamin, it's a hormone, and it's involved in lots of processes in the body, especially your immunity, right?
Yeah.
So if you're living in the UK, yeah, you need to take D3, 4,000 IUs a day. I don't care who you are, you're living in the UK. And so if you look at the parameter for vitamin D recommended levels in your blood, it's from 30 to 100 nanograms per whatever. So 30 to 100. So I was curious. I was living out here, and gal's Brazilian. She got dark skin, and we were going to the beach every day. We're walking around, no top, shorts on. I don't need vitamin D. Surely my levels will be high. Well, let's do a blood test and find out. And both of us was like 34, 35.
Mm.
We're in the sun all the time. Yeah. So I would argue even the quality of the rays that we're getting from the sun is not, it's not stimulating that vitamin D production as it used to be. I should be up there 70, 80 from the sun every day, but I wasn't. So even I take vitamin D supplement. That's one thing you can get in your blood. Inflammatory markers, liver readings, kidney readings, just to know if there's something wrong. If there's something out of whack, like let's try and fix it. I had a guy that came to me, he had liver enzymes readings. You know, I got guys with D-bol. Their enzymes are a bit up, yeah? This guy wasn't on anything. His enzymes are higher than these guys. So I said, do you drink? He didn't drink. I said, so you got non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, probably got fatty liver. Because he was out of shape, he was fat, his blood sugar was high as well. So I put him on basically very low carbs, almost zero carb diet for a month. I put him on N-acetylcysteine for his liver, and obviously dropping the carbs right down and doing the training and stimulating the muscle, it's regulating his blood sugar. I think it's like 4 or 5 weeks later, his liver readings was normal, his blood sugar was in the normal range. Just from a few supplements and training and diet. His doctors couldn't do that in a month.
Yeah.
His doctor told him, you've got fatty liver disease, so you need to stop eating fat. You've got fatty liver disease because you're uncontrolled blood sugar from too much carbohydrates, and your doctor's telling you to stop eating fat. If you stop eating fat, what are you going to eat more of? Carbohydrates for energy. Yeah. You're going to make your condition worse. So, I mean, doctors are good if you're in a car accident or something like that, patch you up, but health, I want to be the last person you go to speak to.
Who do you think at the moment, with a reasonably large social media presence, is doing a good job in terms of the message that they're spreading regarding health, wellness?
I like to watch some of the guys like Huberman.
Yeah.
Like Huberman. I like to watch guys that analyze data and studies and so on. Not that always studies are always right, because it depends how they performed and all lots of different factors, you know. But I like to watch those guys. I got Peter Attia, if you know him. It's I'm doing a podcast with him next week. So those guys are good at getting, you know, analyzing the information and getting it out. So
yeah, they seem to love going balls deep into the scientific studies and data.
Yeah, but they've both been wrong on cannabis. So I had to.
What did they say?
Well, Peter Attia was saying he doesn't know if how much cannabis smoke damages the lungs, but he assumes, as there's the same tar and stuff in there as there is in tobacco smoke, that it would be the same. But it's not, because there's a 20-year study that he's probably not aware of that was done by Donald Taskin, and it followed thousands of people, well-funded, because they assumed that they were going to prove that cannabis was bad for your lungs, and that's what they were looking for. But unfortunately, that was not the conclusion that they got. Yeah? So they followed a group of cigarette smokers, a group of weed smokers. I think there was a group that mixed both, and then a control that don't smoke anything. Okay, so smoking cannabis, is there some negatives? Yes. It will irritate your airways. They'll get irritated. They'll get a little inflamed from the smoke. Yes, that happens. Could slightly increase the chances of you getting like a bronchitis or an infection. Increase your chances. Don't mean you'll get it. But after 20 years, the cigarette smokers have lost a massive amount of lung function and a lot of cancers. So there's permanent damage done by the tobacco smokers. Loss of lung function, emphysema, COPD, all that stuff, yeah. Weed-only smokers, no increased cancers or anything like that. How about the lung capacity of 20 years smoking daily cannabis? Did it affect the lung capacity? Yeah, slightly. Slight increase in the capacity. That's right, slight increase. Why? I hazard a guess that as cannabis is a vasodilator. It opens all the bronchioles, opens all the blood vessels, where cannabis is tobacco is a constrictor, closes. So as you're smoking, you're opening all the time. I'm guessing that what gives you a slight increase in lung capacity.
I would not expect that.
No, you wouldn't, would you? But a conclusion is a conclusion.
Yeah.
So the answer is, could irritate your lungs. Yeah, it could irritate it. You could cough and have some mucus and stuff. You might increase your chances of getting a respiratory infection, but that's a temporary condition. So yeah, to be fair, there is a little bit negative, but it's not what you would expect. I mean, it's counterintuitive. You're inhaling smoke in your lungs, and surely it should damage them. But no, there's other plants that people use to help the lungs. There are other herbal plants out there that's used for bronchitis, smoking it when you've got bronchitis to help it. So that's the conclusions. Dr. Donald, Taskin. Yeah, there it is. 20 years. And test subject, only one of me, but I'm a test subject. Been smoking daily for more than 25 years. Yeah, just last time I was in Brazil was in Rio. Went to a sports clinic there, and they did my VO2 max, cardiovascular fitness, heart, everything like that. Yeah, and they were quite surprised because they had bodybuilders in young, 30 years old, and they didn't get very good results.
Is that because of what they were taking?
I don't know. I mean, it's individual. I don't know if it's what they're taking, the fact that they're too heavy and their blood pressure's too high and they don't do cardio. I don't know, because I don't know the individuals. It's just their reaction. So the overall score, like counting up like the VO2 max, the lung capacity, the recovery, heart rate recovery from peak under, the highs you can get it, 1 minute recovery, all these things combined, they estimated my biological age to be 37. So
wow.
Yep, thanks to the cannabis. Well, at least it wasn't a negative. I believe it. I believe it is a health, wellness, and anti-aging medicine. That's what I believe. But anyway, we can say from those results, we can prove it didn't damage my lungs. It would be impossible for me to get those results. So my own experience mirrors what these studies concluded.
Do you take anything else at the moment, like TRT or anything like that?
TRT, yeah. I take testosterone, and we take that for since I was 40. So yeah 150 to 200 milligrams a week.
I don't know if you noticed this, but I have noticed that it's quite alarming. There seems to be quite a lot of young people hopping on some form of steroid, being far too young.
No shit, man.
And not needing to do it. I don't know why. If it's
fashion now.
Yes,
it's fashion. It's internet. It's totally different from when I started in the gym. the only people that knew about steroids were powerlifters and bodybuilders in the gym. And the only people that took steroids were powerlifters and bodybuilders that would do competitions. Not everybody in the gym, just the serious guys that really, that was it. It was like, I don't think general public was not really aware of steroids. It wasn't even a thing. Now it's like everyone knows about steroids, right? And they use so widely. I think in a way it's a male cosmetic thing. You know, women have tits, right? Arse, tits, mouth, fucking face, everything, right? Because they want to look a certain way and they want it now and they want it and they can get it. It's the same thing with the guys. They want to look muscular, they want abs, they want to look lean. It's going to be much quicker to do it taking some stuff.
Yeah.
So they do. That's the world we live in. You know, everything's instant, right? Instant information. Google this, boom, I got it straight away. Want to be famous for nothing? Go on Big Brother or whatever. I don't know. You know, that's the world we live in. Yeah, there's not much substance to it. And you know, who am I to tell people what they should do? I just say, like, just be aware of the consequences, possible negative consequences, and weigh it up. Like, that's it.
I had a kid come up to me in the gym and he was like, I'm thinking of going on steroids. Like, what do you think I should do? And I said, first of all, how old are you? He said he was 19. I said, how long have you been training for? He said 1 year. I was like, there's absolutely no need for you to be going on any sort of steroid.
Here's the thing, and I was talking to a doctor the other day, anti-aging doctor, you know, because yeah, you're right, 19 years old, he should be having his peak own testosterone anyway and getting to some kind of level with that for at least a couple of years more. And you know, when people ask me that, I fire back questions at them. So how many calories are you on? How much protein? If you can't fucking tell me that, mate, don't ask me about steroids, first of all, yeah? So I do that. But, I mean, I think there's almost becoming an epidemic of young guys that actually do have issues with low testosterone.
Yeah.
I mean, it used to be a concern maybe over past 40, 45. You could be looking at guys and saying, hey, let's have a look at your testosterone because it could be low now and that could be having some negative consequences on your overall health. So let's have a look. But I believe this guy's 25 years old that'll be in that low range now because the amount of plastics that they've been exposed to, like since birth, and you know, foreign substances, vaccines, all that kind of stuff. There's an estimate that a 20-year-old now has 50% the testosterone level of a 20-year-old from 1980, from 45 years ago.
Yeah.
When I was 18 in 1980. So what to do about that? I don't know going forward. Are we going to have guys going legitimately to the doctors and having TRT at 30 because the testosterone's on the floor? It might be, I don't know. But if you don't need it, it's not testosterone replacement, is it? It's like you're just putting on top and your body will slow itself down. So I think it's important to say this to people, yeah? Really, the gains that you make on steroids are somewhat temporary. While your hormone level is up there, you can do it and you can recover and you can build. But as soon as you come off, it will go the other way. So what do you do then?
Yeah, that's a sticky situation.
Yeah, I say it's a merry-go-round. Yeah, once you get on the merry-go-round, it's hard to get off because you'll do it, you'll feel great. Obviously, more hormones, you feel more positive going to gym and getting gains and getting bigger and getting stronger. But when you stop, that will go the other way. I mean, I had a guy train with me and he said, I want to do a course and then, well, I'm going to get bigger and then afterwards I'm going to just keep training and keep it. I'm like, that ain't going to work,
Good
mate.
luck.
And he's insisting that it would. And I'm like, do you know who you're talking to? Like, I mean, I'm going to, and you know, what I predicted happened. It went up, it looked great. And then it came off. And it's not just, there's a physical effect that you will start losing and going backwards a bit. There's also the mental that you were feeling. And now your own production is low. So now you're lower than you started, yeah? And you're going to feel depressed and everything. There's going to be a lot of people in trouble mentally because of steroids,
Yeah.
and not just guys, girls more.
I think a lot of guys don't understand that to probably look the way they want to look, they can achieve it naturally if they're just willing to put in the fucking work for a longer period of time.
What their expectations are of what they can
Yeah.
look like, you know? Because if you're looking at a lot of people, you know, it's a facade. Like, I had a guy who seriously, and you know, because we're from the gym, so we're educated, you know? So a friend of mine, good friend, but he doesn't go to the gym and doesn't know anything. It's a smart guy, but he doesn't know about the gym world. So he's very impressed with the Liver King and his liver eating antics and all this stuff. And he was like, do you think he's on steroids? I was like, do I think? 100%, every penny I've got in the world, yes. And he was a bit disappointed because he was following his liver advice and all this, like, you know. Meanwhile, nobody's really going to do that, eat that liver and all. So they buy his liver supplements, you know, and he's making millions. So have your goal to be realistic. If you're going to be natural, you're not going to look like a lot of guys who maybe say they're natural. I don't know. There's a limit, and whatever you gain beyond that's going to be temporary anyway.
Yeah.
So it's just my opinion. As I said, I can't tell people what to do. It's your life, and you should do what you want to do. I'm just here to give the benefit of my experience. And from my experience, I would advise people, if you're not really thinking about like doing this as, you know, sport and competitions and stuff, where how you're going to step on stage with people using it, right? So you're going to need to be on a even playing field if you're going to compete. Well, I really don't think it's worth it if you're not.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion, because you're going to lose it anyway unless you're going to make it part of your life.
Was there an age where you felt like this is the peak,
Like
the
performance wise?
Performance and the way you looked?
It depends. Like you're asking me on the way I look. It might sound strange, but it depends. Look for what? Yeah, like competitive bodybuilding, training, on stage, everything. I'd say 93. I was 31 years old. So 30, 31, I think was the peak of my, like, you know, strength and not a single injury to like have consideration. I better not do this or change this exercise or something. Just doing exactly what I wanted. And I think around that age, 30, 31. But I'm a bit removed from it because that's a competitive physique. My physique that I had in my first competition when I was 23 years old, novice competition, take that for every day walking around.
Yeah, I think I've seen that picture.
Yeah. That's like a physique that everyone would like.
Yeah.
You know, girls liked it, guys would like to look. That wasn't too big, you know. So yeah, that's all that building and all that it's a sport and it's a challenge, but it wasn't for my, like, I don't really feel good walking around at fucking 21, 22 stone, man. It's a project, you know. It's not like good for everyday use.
Clothes do not fit well.
Nah, clothes don't fit well. You're powerful as a beast in the gym and you can lift the whole gym, but walking down the street is tough, you know. Stuff like that. So it's not practical. It was just, you know, like Eddie Hall trying to be the strongest man in the world and deadlift over 1,000 pounds. There's blood coming out of his nose and he's like well overweight and everything.
Eat like 10,000 calories a day.
You're not doing it for your health. It's a sport.
Yeah.
I train and use what I learned from that sport and combine it with other things for my health. So there's a lot of stuff that I learned from bodybuilding that is healthy, but no sport is really healthy at the extreme. You know, getting punched in the head, kicked in the head, it's not good for you. It's not really healthy.
Especially if you want to be the
best. It's competition.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. So it's kind of like, I got separate views on it. I really like my early physiques because it's more aesthetic and everything like that. I probably could still get some trousers to fit me sometimes and so on. So everyday use, yeah, that was like 15.5 stone, ripped then. So that was good for everyday use.
I wanted to ask you as well, what was did you open a gym here? It was the DY gym.
Yeah, it was now M13 gym.
What was the story with that?
Painful story, mate. It's called the Marbella story. It's called everyone has their Marbella story when they first come here and they get involved in some business and it turns out to be a nightmare. So that was mine, and I don't want to go a long story, but short story is I got out of it quick and got my name off it. And somebody else now has the gym, but I mean, I got all the equipment in there from the States, so it's all hardcore old American equipment, hammer, flex, Nautilus and everything. So I helped get all that in there, and I am there. So no, it's not my gym, but I am there. People come and meet me there and train me and everything. It's the gym belongs to a friend.
Any lessons to share or advice to give people who are thinking about setting up businesses in different countries with a partner?
Well, in Spain, you don't need a partner. You can set up a business here, but I wouldn't say Spain's a very business-friendly country because it seems like they love their red tape here. They take ages to do everything,
Yeah.
and they try to like tax you before you've even started.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's coming around the fire department. This, you know, permits, and in England, like let's say if you want to open a gym, you probably speak to the guy and say, "Look, got to paint the walls, I've got to put bathrooms in, and all. Give me a few months, you know, grace to get the place going." And you usually get it here. You don't. You got to pay from day one. So my main business in Romania, that's where DY Nutrition is based, the offices and the factory and everything. So I don't do business here. I just choose to live here. A place to live, it's amazing, but I wouldn't do a business here personally.
Fuck, I think it drive me insane. The work ethic of Spanish people, I'm not saying every Spanish person, but from what I have experienced, they're a little bit too laid back.
Well, you know, we're in Spain, but this is Costa del Sol.
Yeah.
So this is South Spain. So the people in Madrid or the people in north of Spain would look on these guys and say, a bunch of lazy bastard, no, don't do anything down there.
Yeah.
It's a tourist place. So it's kind of, that's the vibe, you know, like same as Italy. North Italy's all business and the South's like more laid back. So it's like that. But to live, it's great. It's just a bit, you know, you're coming from England where the systems and the government and all, it's quite efficient. In contrast, here everything takes long and it doesn't seem to make sense or be very efficient. But I'll just take that, and you know, if that's the only negative, then no problem.
Yeah. I mean, I'm debating whether to get a place here or Ibiza. I like
the
them
same
both.
thing, mate. It's just Spain. I mean, as far as the government goes and everything, just I think I have a friend in Ibiza and he said the prices there for what it is, it's a bit
going
crazy.
up a lot.
Yeah.
Especially I was actually looking at property to buy there, and what you can get much more for your money here in comparison to Ibiza.
Plus,
And
Ibiza in the winter, I don't think it's that great, you know?
No, it's dead.
Yeah, it's dead in the winter and full of, you know,
Hippies.
full
Weird.
of people off their heads on this in the summer.
Yeah. But yeah, Marbella's a class. Apart from, I don't know if they had a problem with crime being on the increase recently. I don't know if you experienced that.
There was always a bit of crime here because there's money, and I mean, every criminal group from Europe is basically a hub here in Marbella, but usually, you know, they keep themselves to themselves, right? But there's been a few shootings round about recently, so there's publicity about that, but I'm sure there's much more crime in Birmingham than there is here. So in contrast, yeah, it's not really an crime that bothers the average person here. There's just sometimes some break-ins in the high end, just some very wealthy houses here and stuff. So obviously they might be a target, but I think compared to the UK, crime levels much less here. Yeah,
London's fucked. Yeah. What's your plans moving forward next couple of years? Focus on the new nutrition line.
New nutritional line, yeah. As far as business goes, and you know, continue working on that. And I'm hoping and like looking forward in a few more years, I'm a bit less on the promotional track and the bodybuilding expos and stuff like that. I've been doing it for so long.
They're tiring.
And I do travel a lot, and I was counting the other day, I've been for 44 different countries. And most of that's through bodybuilding, through my work connected to bodybuilding. And I do sometimes travel for myself, but it's in the minority of the time because I'm traveling for work. Then travel again, I'll just stay home, and it's nice to stay here anyway. But eventually, I like a bit more time to myself to just do stuff like that. Just, you know, fall off the grid a little bit and do some traveling for myself. Well, everything's going good. I don't have extreme goals. I have my goals for my business and enjoying life. You know, I got my grandson is coming up. He's going to be a year old soon, so that's great. You know, and the family and everything. So you know, everything's getting quite balanced at this point in my life, which is good.
That's good to hear. What do you want to be known for?
Somebody that thought for himself and made his own path and inspired other people to believe in themselves and do the same thing.
Yeah.
And had a positive impact by his life being here and being myself and meeting people, and somehow that had a positive effect. That's it, really. Forget about all the other stuff, Mr. Olympia and everything. That's great, but what did you do?
Yeah.
You know, did you make a lot of money for yourself? You made trophies for yourself? You made things for yourself? That's good, but what did you do out for other people? What did you do for the world? Like, you know, something positive, as I feel very privileged to have done what I've done. And I say to the guys, sometimes we go in the gym, I'm like, before you work out, let's just think how fucking privileged we are to be able to be here, have this body, have this health, and the ability to come to this gym and do this thing that we like to do. Like,
Yeah.
that's great, man. Fucking coming here with a long face. Like, you know, it's a blessing to be able to do that, and all the things that I can still do physically. I'm gonna ride my bike up in the mountains, go hiking and everything. Yeah, I've got some injuries from bodybuilding, but overall, if I hadn't done all that training and everything, maybe I wouldn't be able to do all those things I'm doing now. So yeah, continue to look after the body, continue to look after my mind, and continue to learn. You ask me what I do. Some days I'm just reading all afternoon. And I have the time now to be able to sit, I'm just going to read this afternoon. Sometimes I'm busy, sometimes I'm not. If I'm not busy, I'm mostly reading. Like I've got hundreds of books. Plus I read online and watch videos. So I'm just always trying to learn something all the time. So there's no destination here, you know? Just keep going until I'm not going anymore in this body. Anyway, until then, it's learn and enjoy.
That was a good way to finish.
Yeah.
Where can people find you?
Best way to contact me is really Instagram, the Dorian Yates, my personal one. Believe it or not, I do check my DMs on there. So if you message me there, you will get to me.
That's good.
Not Facebook, none of the other ones. Other people monitor those. We've got those pages, but Instagram is the one that I can't check them all every day. So that's the one I check. So if you want to contact me, you can contact me through there. And of course, DY Nutrition, if you want to check out the supplements, and the YouTube channel is also DY Nutrition with my podcasts on. I'm not trying to be competition to you and all the other people. I'm just doing one a month, so don't worry. I'm going to take all your audience away from you.
There's plenty of room for more people. The thing is, as well, with you, you've got access to a lot of people I wouldn't have access with.
True. Yeah, I'm wondering who I'm going to get on next. I would like Joe Dispenza on, but he's a bit hard to get a hold of, as he's like one of the main guys I've learned meditation techniques and visualization and stuff. I mean, I knew it before, but enhanced it and understand it more and everything. So I have a combination of people from the bodybuilding and fitness, and people that's more from the, let's say, from the scientific background. So a combination of interesting people. And at the moment I'm just doing like one a month or something, because it's one of the things I do. And also I don't want to be a slave to it. Like, I must get a guest on this week. Like, if I do it once a month, I can really get someone on that I really want to talk to. So yeah, got my fingers in a few pies.
Good stuff. I look forward to checking out the new supplement line as well.
Yeah, I mean, DY Life should be out. We're aiming by September, October, and we're doing something a bit game changing, as we like to be the game changers.
Yeah.
All the products are going to have their nutritional profile on the front.
Mhm.
It's normally on the back, right?
Yeah.
But what are you paying for? So we're just going to put it on the front, and there's a scan code. You can check all the. So nobody's done that yet, because they usually put some hype on the front and the nutritional information on the back. Well, we think like
like that.
what you're actually paying for is that, right? So let's put it on the front. So yeah,
I like that.
wait for somebody to follow us.
Awesome, man. I appreciate it.
All right,
As
thanks for the
always.
time, man.
No worries.